Justin is ready.
I am ready. Apologize for
There
that.
we go
Thank
with
you.
Vortex.
So actually, I might diverge a little bit from the slides here. I can just do it verbally. Um, this is Vortex v. the King. Basically, the takeaway here, among others, trial and error is still not SR&ED. This is a company that submitted SR&ED claims relating to the development of mobile, high-efficiency, direct contact water heaters used in hydraulic fracturing or fracking. Decision is a useful reminder that complex, risky engineering work doesn't automatically assume that it's SR&ED. And the other piece, which kind of raised my eyebrow, was that in engineering cases, expert evidence and documentation are now close to essential, which we'll get into why, particularly with the expert evidence piece, that's why this was a challenge. Now, the facts of the case: Vortex set out to build mobile direct contact water heaters. This is between 10 and 35 million BTU, so these are big fellas. They could be mounted on a truck or trailer, used at remote frac sites. Existing direct contact heaters were stationary. Vortex wanted equivalent output in a smaller mobile package that could survive extreme weather and transport vibrations. So you would think on the face of it that maybe there was SR&ED, and maybe there was. But so in 2014, they worked mainly on two 10 million BTU units. One, according to the taxpayer, failed catastrophically during testing when vibration cracked welds and shook the whole unit apart. 2015, they focused on a single 35 million BTU unit. In 2014, they'd claimed 1.45 million in expenditures. And in 2015, about $500,000 in expenditures. 2015 claim was not objected to directly, but carried forward into 2019, and both years were ultimately before the court. By the time of the trial, Vortex was operating the surviving 10 million BTU unit and the 35 million BTU unit commercially in the field. Minister's reassessments. Oh, I will hit. Do not disturb on that. I apologize. Minister's reassessments denied all SR&ED and crucially assumed that there was no scientific or technological uncertainty, no hypotheses, no systematic investigation, and no technological advancement. The Crown successfully amended the replies at the start of trial to make these assumptions explicit, relying on the CRA reviewer's report. So in the legal framework, of course, you can talk about why and how and whatever the flavor of the day is for interpretation. But Northwest Hydraulics still rules. Justice Spiro reaffirmed that the 5 questions at Northwest remain the operative framework. And of course, I won't go through those. We all know Northwest Hydraulics. The court walked through each question and found that Vortex was wanting on all 5. Vortex did plead that it faced uncertainty in dealing with large swings in ambient temperature, large swings in inlet water temperature, and making a much smaller heating chamber work, which was about 60% of the conventional size of a fixed unit. The court's response was pretty blunt. Technological uncertainty is objective, not subjective. The question of whether a competent professional in the field would find uncertainty was the order of the day, not what this particular taxpayer did or didn't know. Vortex called no, and this references the beginning. Vortex called no expert engineering witnesses to explain the state of the art in burner design, vibration or harmonics in welding vessels, or mobile heater design, nor to explain why the difficulties they encountered couldn't have been solved by routine engineering and known calculations. Because the minister had explicitly assumed no scientific or technological uncertainty, and the assumption was never demolished, the court essentially stopped there on criterion 1, the taxpayer failed at the threshold. There's also strong practical comment to the bar. In engineering SR&ED cases, relying solely on an owner or founder's testimony is risky. An independent expert bound by the court's expert code is considerably more credible and reliable than simply an interested witness. Furthermore, one big hypothesis isn't enough. Vortex's pleadings identified a single overarching hypothesis that a new set of engineering guidelines and software controls could produce a working mobile direct-fired heater, But that's not a hypothesis at all, replied the court, just a restatement of project objective. Hypothesis must, of course, be specific, testable statements that you can prove or disprove with an experiment. I mean, I can continue on with these, but quite frankly, I found there to be 7 takeaways for key for software, sorry, for practitioners. Uncertainty, being objective and context-based. Don't frame, we didn't know how to do it as an uncertainty, but rather frame what competent professionals in the field would find non-trivial and document why standard design calculations, codes, supplier knowledge, and so on was not sufficient. If you end up in court or in dispute, bring in an expert in engineering cases. When the dispute is about what is routine engineering versus experimental development, an independent engineering expert is increasingly critical, if not the standard. Might be one of the implicit pieces of might be one of precedent in this particular case. Without one, the court is most likely to accept CRA's assumptions that no real technological uncertainty or advancement existed. The work must be broken up into specific testable hypotheses. Avoid the one big hypothesis that just restates the project goal. For each technical issue, flame stability, harmonics, weld fatigue, spray nozzle performance, define a hypothesis, test it, and record what changed. Designing a systematic experimental program is not just a tuning exercise. Trial and error is common in engineering. To qualify as SR&ED, you need to show that each trial was part of a structured plan to understand underlying phenomena, not just to get the equipment to behave the way you want it to. Document everything, especially failures. Contemporaneous lab books, test sheets, logs, and design notes that link problem, hypothesis, test setup, measured data, analysis, next step. Right, following the scientific method. Failures are valuable evidence of learning. Omitting them can be fatal. Couple more here. Commercial novelty isn't enough. Being first to market with a mobile direct contact heater did not by itself convince the court, nor should it have. Make sure your files speak to how the work advanced the underlying knowledge, not just that the product is unique or successful. And watch the assumptions in the reply here. The Crown strengthened its assumptions at the start of trial to explicitly negate all 5 Northwest criteria. Always read the reply assumptions closely and build your evidence strategy around demolishing them point by point, but to Ohed's initial point, try not to get here in the first place. In short, Vortex continues the recent trend of the tax court, tightening expectations on SR&ED evidence, specifically in engineering projects. For practitioners, I would say it's a cautionary tale. Impressive prototypes, dramatic failures are not enough. Without clearly framed uncertainties, hypotheses, systematic tests, and strong documentation, even very sophisticated engineering work may be characterized as routine. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.